Hey guys, I'm Genese.
I'm Kim.
And we're Too Hot for Church. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, as you guys already know, Too Hot for Church is where we bring thought-provoking thought from the pulpit to the streets. So we are coming straight at you. So we have Miss Kim Love Jones, as she said before, and we are Too Hot for Church. And tell everyone just a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you got here.
I am a life. First of all, Genese, this is awesome. I'm so grateful that we are just taking this to a whole nother level.
Yes, yes.
Like, this is amazing.
This is so cool.
I am a life and relationships coach.
Mm-hmm.
I am a speaker, a mentor, and I help people to have better relationships. Yes. Married, single.
Single or divorced.
Right.
Whatever.
Whatever your situation is.
Whatever.
I don't think it much surprises me anymore, actually.
So this book that, if you guys know me, I've been talking about this wonderful book that has changed my whole perspective on relationships. Perfectly Imperfect. It is the key principles that lead to your best relationship ever. Let me tell you, when I read this book, I'm telling you, my whole perspective on relationships, it totally like shifted. What I thought I knew about me or what I thought I knew about people and relationships, after reading the book, it totally changed.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. Because
I think before I was in the habit of when a situation did not quite go the way I expected it to, I always looked at the other person as opposed to taking, inventory.
Yes.
Right. And a lot of people do that.
Yeah, they do.
When something doesn't go right in the relationship, it's so easy to blame the other person. Because if you blame the other person, you don't have to do the work within yourself.
Right.
And I just thought that was so amazing. I was just like, hold on, am I doing some inventory? I ain't right all the time either.
Right.
I can't just blame on the other person.
That's what I think is the most important part of relationships, period. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to be in a relationship, if you made a conscious decision that this is what you want, and you get in, like, one of the things that you should always be mindful of is just like how it's almost like you want to have a weekly meeting, like a check-in session with your partner, to see how things are going, how they feel, what's going on, and be intentional about it.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't think, they're the best thing since sliced bread, sugar.
I thought I was.
And it's like, what? Well, I got a problem? I don't have a problem.
Or I could be also contributing to the problem. It's just like, hold on, huh?
Right. I'm going to tell you, I wanted to get right into whatever we're going to get in today, because I'm telling you, I got something I really, really, really want to share.
Okay.
And I'm excited. I'm not excited for the way that it's happening, but I'm excited that it is happening.
Okay, so not the way, but just excited that the fact.
Right, that it is happening. Yeah, because it's necessary.
It is necessary.
It's like a necessary evil.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that, okay.
Yeah.
So let's just get right in. I know that you and I, we speak quite often throughout the week, and also I have a lot of questions about the book, because the other night I told someone else this story, but I was kind of like chilling, had my feet kicked up, had my tea, and I'm reading the book, and then all of a sudden something just like wowed me so much I had to put down my cup of tea and go grab a pen and a piece of paper and start jotting stuff down. So like I said before, thank you for totally ruining my chill moment. Thank you for totally. But
oh my God.
You said in the book that the only way, and this really like stuck with me, the only way that you can really work through relationship issues is to truly be in love with someone.
Yes.
And that stuck to me because I'm like, okay, so that means that, and here's how I took it again. I have to be in love with you.
Right.
Totally and completely. In order to actually want to even make it work with you.
Right. Well, not totally and completely. You can be in deep like with somebody and still have a transformative moment.
But there has to be some
yeah, it has. You have to care.
Right. Care, exactly.
You have to
exactly.
care.
You have to care.
So I use love in that particular analogy because it took me to really think about, what I was doing in my life to help to change my thinking.
Right.
In the way I saw things. And some stuff didn't really matter. But I made it like, so big before I checked myself.
Right.
So yeah. So now you were saying you have to be in love in order for it to matter. You saw that in the book, and that thing really took you.
Yeah, it took me because I'm like, okay, I can remember in my earlier years being at a point in time where you're just dating and you really think that you know what love is, but you kind of really don't know what love is.
When you fall in love, I'm sorry to sidebar, but when you fall in love, let me just tell you, it'll make you believe that you've never been in love before.
Right. I agree with that.
Right. And you go back and say, well, was that what I was doing before really love? I mean, it's amazing.
It is.
It really is. It's like, wow, wait, this is different. Wait.
It stuck with me so much because I can remember, like I said, when I was younger and I was dating, and there were like a lot of things that I did thinking that I was in love. Okay. Right. But then, on the other hand,
haven't we all? Right,
I did a lot of things thinking that I was in love, but that was for the person that I was really in love with. But then it took me back to like the person that I wasn't really feeling too much, and wasn't no working anything out with them. It was just like, okay, if I'm not really feeling you like that, listen, you got one strike, maybe one strike, definitely 2 strikes, and then I'm out.
Right.
There's no reason for me to put in that work over someone that I'm just not really feeling like that.
Right. And I'm gonna interject right there with what I was going to say for a little bit later, because it's right in the same vein. I have someone that I speak to regularly that's a friend of mine, and I really did not ask her permission to tell a story, but I know so many people and I have so many friends that nobody will ever know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
So I'm just going to share this. So my good friend meets this wonderful gentleman, and he's helping her in her life, right? And he's doing great things for her and her children. And for the first time ever in her life, like she's had to stop being who she's always been, right? And now she has to come from a different perspective, and she doesn't know how.
Okay.
She doesn't know how to really love him. But he's really loving on her, and she's been throwing up all kinds of like roadblocks, and she's been like dealing with things from this perspective of, I'm not used to this, and almost like, no, not almost, and is actually sabotaging the relationship, and she knows
but she
can't
stop.
Can't stop.
Wow.
Because she is accustomed to. So what I said to her was, I thank God for this brother, and at the same time, I really feel bad for him. But this is the point in your life, this is a season in your life where things are about to shift, because you needed this to happen in order for you to grow.
Right.
Because now you see yourself, because you actually have somebody that loves you and is different from anything else that you've experienced, and because you have this mindset of you're doing little things, and you see, she says, literally, she says to me in tears, I don't know how to love him back.
Well, this comes from a place of being hurt?
I don't know. I didn't dig deep enough to figure out the environment and different things. She told me a little bit of stuff about how she grew up and what she witnessed and what she saw.
Right, because it could be coming from her being hurt. It could be coming from not knowing how to trust.
No, I think it's more of a protect thing.
Okay.
And I think it's pretty much, that's what I was detecting. Now, she's a friend of mine. She's not a client of mine. She's a friend of mine.
Okay.
But it really, like, she, with tears in her eyes, she is really struggling. And I'm like, baby, don't cry. Like, don't cry. You know, because I don't even know what to say, because the only thing I could actually say to her is I thank God for this process. Because right now, because she doesn't feel good, but it's a necessary not feeling good before the awakening happens.
Right, always.
You understand? Because that is the thing that will make you go into yourself and check yourself and start to deal with things from a different perspective. And if this is what it took to shake her loose and wake her up, I'm grateful for it.
Right.
And it is a necessary evil.
Right. And thank God for that brother too, because if he's loving on her regardless.
And I hope they make it.
If he's loving on her regardless.
Right.
That means he has to be in a place in his life where he's okay.
Right. Right.
He's okay. He's free to love.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's not that easy for everyone.
It's not.
It's not that easy for everyone.
And again, I hope they make it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's very few people that are enlightened enough that can stand toe to toe with you in the face of that type of adversity in a relationship, and they stand with you and don't move.
Well, I mean, I can.
Right. So
that happens now because everything is so microwave, you know, relationships. You can go online and meet someone, you know, you can just slide and, you know, we talked about this before. You slide into the DM now. They have swipe, you know, Tinder.
We talked about
you
that,
can. It's so easy to replace what you don't like. And you talked about that in the book. People run at the first sign of trouble because being in a relationship takes sacrifice.
Yeah, it does.
That's all in the book.
It absolutely
takes
does.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
However, in this day and age, when you have access to so much, with little to no effort.
But you know what? But is it any real connection? Because we're on social media and we're doing X, Y, and Z. Like I'm on there, I'm posting. You're on there, you're posting. But do people really have deep connections? And I have to say, absolutely not. Like you have deep connections with the people you go to church with, maybe, or you have deep connections with your siblings, right? But as far as reaching out past that, it's kind of like a smoke and mirrors thing until you get people get up close to you and in your circumference. And that's one of the things that, you know, her and I were talking about. It's one thing when you're out and you're dating, and then when you getting ready to take things to the next level, it's like, oh my God, now you're going to see me naked. And I have to stop you from seeing me naked. I don't want you to see me naked because I don't want you to know all of my deep-seated stuff. So I got to do something, and I got to do it fast, and not even consciously aware of what you're doing, but you start sabotaging. Because the truth of the matter is, as connected as we are globally now, we are so disconnected from real, authentic relationship, from being vulnerable and truthful and honest with who we are.
Well, I mean, you have to really think about it. Most of us have been hurt before. Most of us have gone through just some type of trauma in either our childhood or either in our adult years that forces us to turn off that switch to date. I have friends, girlfriends, and I know women now my age who have totally given up.
That's terrible.
And it is terrible. It is terrible. But when you come from a place of constantly being hurt and not realizing why it's happening.
Why you keep doing the same
Why you keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Expecting a different result.
Yes. But when that happens, of course, I'm tired of it. I don't want to have to do it anymore. It takes too much work. But that's another reason why I like the book, because it kind of puts a stop to that. No more excuses. No more excuses. Like, you have to look at yourself. Why the same thing continues to happen over and over and over and over and over again. It doesn't matter who the person is. Because sometimes you can have so many different relationships and you end up with the same person. How on earth is that possible?
Right, because you're not doing the work.
You're not doing the work.
Right, you didn't learn your lesson.
Right.
I keep talking about that. I think life is just like, elementary school, and high school, and junior high. And prayerfully you graduate and go to college. But a lot of people are stuck in the third grade. Yeah. And the third grade is a really pivotal point in people's lives. Because in the third grade, they literally are testing you to see if, like, I heard a report, a survey, or something that there was something written about the test that they give you in the third grade, and in the third grade, based on math and English and reading scores, they are literally making a jail cell.
Wow.
Now imagine this. Let's go here. They are preparing a jail cell for the child that does not pass that test in the third grade. But people are stuck in the third grade, and they are literally in a self-imposed prison. And it always reminds me of the man laying by the pool of Bethesda. Like, nobody won't help me. No. Will thou be made whole? That's the question.
That's the question. Right.
Do you want it? Right. Do you want to remain in the same condition? And people will tell you no, but they do everything to the contrary.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Right? And so if you put a person in even a makeshift prison, because they're in prison in their minds, right? If you put a person in a makeshift prison, right, and you try to talk them out of the prison, and they solitary confinement, because that's what people are determined to be in. Right. Solitary, like, I don't, and if you tell them, well, you can come out. Like, you don't have to stay in there. As a matter of fact, you can go out in the yard right now and you can, whatever. And, I'm acting like I've been in prison before, y'all. Like, I know back in the day, I watched too much Oz. I don't know. For a minute, not for long, because it was a little crazy. But, but you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And so you can literally reduce yourself. And this is why this is my life's work. Because I promise that I'm here to help people to see so that they can be set free. Right. And we're doing like 2Hot4Church. We have a certain audience, right? And our audience is Christians, but we have women sitting in the pews in church every Sunday, manless. And the first thing, let me just say it, I'm going to say it. The first thing they say is,
Go ahead, I'm
all these men want to do is have sex.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, that is the point.
And Kim has been saying this since I met her. That is something that she is sticking to.
Because I don't know what you think it is supposed to be. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Because at the root of it, that's really basically what they want. And it's yeah, you got it right. Let's just be clear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, stop the shenanigans. And it's like, no, because that's all these men, and I'm like, but don't you want a companion? Don't you want somebody,
But they give up, because I even know women who have totally thrown themselves into the church. Because, once you get involved with the church, I know firsthand, you're always involved in something, you're always doing something, and it can consume a lot of your time.
Yes.
So with that being said, a lot of women kind of throw themselves into the church life.
They want to be in the kitchen committee, the cooking.
Yes.
They want to sing in the choir. They the pastor's aide. They the usher. They on the usher board. They,
they're in the choir.
Right. They're in the choir. They got to be in the choir. Like, they can sing a little something. They got to be in the choir. They're on the usher board.
Yes.
Right.
Praise and worship team.
Right. Pastor's aide. Why not? Yeah. Fundraising for the church,
Dance ministry.
Right. They praise dancing. They are praise dancing. And I am not opposed to any of that. But I think balance in a Christian's life does them well. Because even if you're not, at the church house, I love being at the church house.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I'm there 4 days a week.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's all right. But the idea is that you need to have balance in your life. And you kind of can get lost in that.
Yeah.
And never, right.
It's purposely done.
Right, I know.
It's purposely done.
Yes,
it is purposely
consciously
done.
Or unconsciously.
Purposely
it is.
done to get caught up.
Right.
Because it's better than just sitting at home.
Right.
Watching TV, or it's better than it's. Now you're interacting with people, and you're doing God's work, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah, and it becomes your life.
Right.
But I never ever in my life wanted to be that.
Right.
Never wanted to be that.
Right.
And they don't realize it, but they're running away from doing the actual work.
Right.
And this is what I've realized a lot of women do. See, the Bible says that faith without works is dead. So they have all the faith.
Right.
They get on their knees and pray. Mm-hmm. But what are you doing to correct that behavior?
Right. What behavior?
Well, the behavior of they don't have behavior. Right. So the behavior of not being able to keep a healthy relationship.
Right.
They continuously are attracting unhealthy men with unhealthy behavior. So instead of doing the research to see exactly what I need to do to fix it, I'm just gonna throw myself into the church.
Right. Because it's safe.
Yeah.
Because it's safe.
Yeah.
But it's not balanced.
It's not. Oh no, absolutely not.
Right. It's safe, but not balanced.
It is not. It is not balanced at all. No. And another thing.
And you know what I think, Genese? I think that maybe this is a little way off. Not really way off topic, but a little off topic. The reason why you're here is so much greater than that.
Right.
A lot of people want to do the work in the church, but there's so much work to do outside of the church.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I mean, you can volunteer and create a soup kitchen at your church for the homeless people.
Absolutely.
But you can go out and minister to people and take people food.
That's right.
Right? So everything, and this is sidebar, I guess, but it's necessary to state, because what's happening is that people get caught up, and once again, they don't have the balance that they need in order for them to be a well-rounded person.
Right.
God didn't come, creators, for us to come down here and be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm just going to stay where it's safe. And in fact, I probably should be laying at the altar 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, repenting for something, right? But what good would I be to anybody else if that's what I did? Right. Because I could probably go there right now.
And I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you.
But there's work to be done.
But I always said I never want to be that type of person.
Right.
To just sit there and just depend on, just a string and a prayer.
Right.
In order to change my life.
Right.
Not happening.
Right.
You cannot just wait until Sunday, let the pastor pray over you, and then go home and not put in the work. It's not that easy.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people really don't do it.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day about emotional attachment. And you and I kind of figured out a way to kind of break that cycle of being emotionally attached. Someone told me one time that you have to be very careful who you talk to. Be very careful who you let in your ear. Because what happens is you can become emotionally attached to that person, and that person is not, the right person, but emotional attachment is very, very, very real. Yeah. And a lot of people really don't understand that, how real emotional attachment is. So I was talking to someone the other day, and she was telling me how because I asked, I said, so how is such and such? I haven't, you know,
Right.
You haven't talked about him in a while, and you know, because I know you guys got that on and off kind of thing, you know. And she goes, "Girl, I just can't. He's still here. I'm still there.
Right.
We're still together.
Right.
And then I said, well, you know, that emotional attachment is very real.
It is.
Because the thing about emotional attachment is, once you get emotionally attached to someone, then the common sense kind of goes.
Yeah, that's that love thing.
It's that love thing.
Yeah, that's that love thing.
It is that
now
love
you don't
thing.
have no more sense at
you
all.
don't. This sense goes. It goes out the window. I'm saying because it goes out the window. But that emotional attachment is so real. So we were talking,
right?
And I was telling her, well, you know, the way that you can come out of that emotional attachment is to see the person for what they really are.
Right now.
And when you talked about that in the book, when you were basically like, a lot of times we want to see people for who they are.
Right.
As opposed to just accepting them. No, I'm sorry.
Right.
A lot of times we see people for what we want them to see.
Right.
As opposed to accepting them for who they are.
Right.
So the emotional attachment comes in where she is seeing him for whoever she wants him to be, but he ain't that.
Who he might have the potential to become.
Right. That word potential.
Wait a minute.
We don't do potential, but we don't do that potential.
Women do it more than men, unfortunately.
Yeah, but
don't work out too well.
Let's
don't do that.
Don't.
Whatever you do,
but
don't do that.
That was her problem. So I said, listen, why don't we work on seeing him for who he is right now?
Right.
Forget who you think he's gonna be. Forget who you want him to be. Now let's keep it 100%.
Right.
Let's talk about what he is right now. 100%. We ain't talking about what his mama want him to be. We ain't talking about what his papa want him to be. We ain't talking about none of that. We're talking about seeing this person for who they are at this very moment. To break that, and once you begin to see a person for who they are right at this very moment. Once again, it goes back to the book. Not making someone who you want them to be.
Right.
But seeing them for who they really are. And once you see them for who they really are, that is when you start to chip away at that emotional attachment.
Yes. Because you need to, there are stages to love, right?
Mm-hmm.
I talked about this before. I think you and I had a phone conversation, but I also taught this at my workshop. Mm-hmm. That there are 5 stages, and the first stage being the in love stage.
Right.
And a lot of people do not understand that there is a chemical reaction to meeting somebody who speaks to you emotionally, spiritually, mentally, right? And then physically for some, right? Okay. And you get tied to and connected to them, and you find yourself in the in love stage, and you don't understand, sometimes you don't even understand how you got there, but something they said spoke to you and awakened something in you.
That's why you gotta be careful who you let talk to you.
Okay.
Be careful who you let in your ear. I'm trying to tell y'all, this is real stuff.
No, it is.
God.
And so you're at this stage 1 that everybody goes through, and the stage 1 usually lasts from 3 months from 3 months to 3 years, right? And so in the first 3 years, you're so in love that there are literally like endorphins going off in your brain, and you don't even understand. But God created us for that specifically, for the purpose of procreation. Right? Because we would probably never go out with one another if it were not for the in love thing, right? So the second stage of a relationship is the commitment stage, right? And that usually happens when you commit to someone within the 3 months and the 3 years, right? Most people stay longer than that. I don't know what's going on. We'll talk about that another time. That's not for right now. But anyway, it's important. It is an imperative to understand that this is what's taking place inside of you, and now you've committed from the perspective of the being in love thing, right?
Right, I get it.
So, okay. The third stage is when all hell breaks loose.
Right.
because this is the stage when the blinders start to come off and you start to see them for who they really are.
Wait, hold on. So how long is that supposed to take?
No, sometimes, well, clearly it's around 2.5. No, whenever the in love period is going on in somebody's life, it's not happening then. So let's just be clear about that.
I mean, can it be 2 to 3 months, like 5 months? I mean,
of what?
Once you clearly start to see a person for who they are.
Not when you're in this chemically induced state.
I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend.
I know, right? Not when you're in a chemically induced stage.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you're chemically induced, man. It's a wrap.
Because I know some people, honestly, who 5 months, you hang around somebody after 5 months and you start to see them for who they are. And you be like, it's just.
Sometimes it's said from 3 months to 3 years.
Okay.
That's what the studies say. Okay. The research says.
Okay.
So it's anywhere from 3 months to 3 years. So it could really 5 months. It could be it. You be like,
because you like, ew, who is this?
Get away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who you are.
Wait, hold on. What
I don't even know. How did you get in my house?
Yeah, what are we doing here again? Right, what are you doing here?
Right. So generally, that's what it is. And the stage 3 is when things just start going crazy. Mm-hmm. And so, just because you can reach the stage 3 quickly, right? But this is the time that if you're married, this is the time that if you're in a relationship, and as in a committed relationship, and you figure out that you really do want to get married, that you really need to fight. Because this is when things start to get a little ugly in your relationship. Okay. Because you actually see, they ain't all that. I mean, you like them enough. Right. You can be their friend, which is what relationships boil down to anyway. But that stage 3 is when, all the blinders, would you say, it comes.
The unit comes off. But I know this is serious. I know a lot of women that it's like this. We ain't taking that long no more to actually look at someone to see if we like them or not. Okay. And maybe that's not safe. No. To be so quick to judge.
No, I'm quick. I'm quick too, but I don't know why they're quick. Yeah. I'm quick because I study this stuff. I don't know why they're quick. They could be quick because they're being a nitpicker because something in the other person, right? They saw something in another person and they said, "Oh, that remind me of Ray Ray." You know what I'm saying? Right. I ain't messing with Ray Ray no more. That kind of thing. So because of that. You don't know what that's really rooted in. Right. Sometimes you're getting rid of somebody who has I don't want to even use the word, I almost said potential.
We don't use that word potential, okay? The P word is blocked.
Right, it is.
Okay, we do not use the word potential. Let's block it. Don't do it.
Okay. So, sometimes you meet somebody who has that certain thing that you like, that you're looking for, maybe even that you need, and it's just an all-around good person, male or female, but because you've been through, you're trying to dissect people in 2 weeks, you miss the opportunity to have a beautiful relationship.
So you're saying to be friends first?
Yeah, I absolutely, that's my first. Just be friends. Just go out to dinner.
And I'll say this. It is very hard to be friends in this day and age. Because, number one, most women, we have this fairy tale that we want to get married and have kids. The biological clock is ticking and yada, 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 yada. If you in the church, you have the mothers and the elders, trying to push you off on someone to get married.
I know. I'm laughing, y'all.
And y'all know y'all not right, so I'm gonna need y'all to stop. Okay? Stop doing it. Stop pushing these young people to get married knowing that they're not ready. Okay? Stop. Oh my gosh. Anyway, but it's true. So people are getting pushed to get married. People are just watching movies. It's just so much moving forward. to push people into relationships.
Right. Right.
So to say stay at that friend stage,
Right.
it's who has time for that?
Oh. Wow.
I mean, realistically,
that not to be the case.
Realistically, I know people who are meeting, dating, and married within a year.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
That is very. That I don't know. Okay. I don't know how it's going.
We need an updated report on that.
Last time I checked. Because people tell you what they want you to know,
yes.
So I don't know the behind.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So I'm going to be honest, I really don't know, but okay. I do know that, this is what's happening now.
Right.
It's hard to stay at the, and I know you believe in this.
Yeah, I really believe in it, but
it's hard.
The importance of the friendship is, and this is really how I feel, the importance of the friendship is this. Is that it's not so much, because I have some amazing male friends that talk to me. I'm their big sister, their little sister, depending upon how old they are, whatever. And they are amazing, right? But at the same time, they treat me well, but I'm the big sister. So I see such good qualities in them. We talk about everything. Right? And I mean, from politics to the kids, I mean, we talk about everything. They unfortunately don't withhold much from me, and I'm like, really? Really?
Too much information.
Right. You didn't have to tell me that.
Yes, they did.
No, really they did.
They really did.
But the reason why I'm saying this is because at the end of the day, and I tell my male friends this all the time when they're out dating, and they call me and they be like, oh, I just went out with such and such or whatever. I always make sure to tell them this. I like, I said, why are you calling me this time of night? Something's wrong. Because normally you wouldn't call me at like 10:30 because you just got in from a date. Like, what happened? So they'll just start telling me or whatever. And I'm like, she's cute, but she's a little too heavy for me. And she, like little different things that they kind of can be nitpicky about. And I said, but can you talk to her though? And if I could just really keep it real, I'm like, you're getting older. And you want somebody to spend your life with whom you can have a conversation with, who stimulates your mind when nothing else can be stimulated. So you trying it? No, and listen.
I mean,
this is real talk.
I get it.
You are looking for
a life
somebody
partner
that's gonna, and I get men are visual. I get that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Truly, I do.
Because you have to stimulate them visually before they can get to the other part.
But you can't, like, if she can hold a conversation with you, and I was watching a video, I promise, Sinbad did a video. He did stand-up comedy, and I saw the video the other day, and he said he had gotten divorced from his wife. They were divorced for 10 years, and they got back together like 2 years ago now. I don't know when the video was released, but it was hilarious.
Okay.
And what Sinbad said is, leave them little young girls alone. He said, because you sitting there having a stroke, and she don't know you having a stroke, because she don't know. She don't know nothing. And she like, why are you looking at me like that? And Sinbad is like, I'm having a stroke. You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny because, men get a midlife crisis or, they get somewhere around it. They're like, oh, I got to have a PYT, the pretty young thing. And she don't know nothing. She don't know. You need to find someone of some quality that understands you and can relate to you and be with you and be by your side. And what people are doing, they got this whole thing mixed up. A lot of men are still out there like they 60-something. They ain't with nobody. Nobody. And they're like, really? Is this all it is?
Right, exactly.
Is
like
this all you want?
But at what point do you wake up and say, hold on, like, all right, there has to be more to life than, or more to a relationship than
most men don't want to be monogamous, and they really don't care about all of that. If they can get somebody to hook them up, they good. You know, they can call who they want to call, but that's not the point. It's got to be deeper than that.
Right.
You know, in my opinion, that's not their opinion necessarily.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's real talk.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
I want to say it's sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's sad. It's really sad. You have to get to a certain point where you want more than just that.
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's sad if you don't want it. It's sad if you don't want it. In my opinion, if you reach a certain age.
With women, they don't see it that way.
Yeah, but if you reach a certain age and you still are just chasing the big booty and the pretty face, like that's pretty like played out.
No, not to them.
Yeah,
it's played. Might be.
It's pretty like played out. Like
pretty
at what
face,
point?
Slim waist.
Like at what point do you know want someone to talk to and cuddle with and build a life with?
They don't want to cuddle.
Shared.
They ain't ready to
cuddle. Listen, if you with me, you gonna cuddle. Listen, if you with me, you gonna cuddle. I like to cuddle. I like to cuddle, and while we cuddling, I also like to ask questions. I'm that type.
God. Here we go with the questions. But listen,
I'm that type of female.
He be like, yo, I'm gonna go down and he gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna go watch the game. You know what I'm saying? You
because I think at that point when you're cuddling, honestly, I think that's like the best time to like.
No, it is not. The best time to ask questions is at the kitchen table in the daytime when everything when you can have nobody's upset. No, you want to cuddle and start getting serious. You trying to run them up out the room. That's what you try. He be like, ma'am, please. Ma'am, I love you, but you really, as he's flicking the remote, like I'm trying to cuddle with you, but you finna mess this whole thing up. Like you're really about to mess this up.
I'm just trying to have a conversation. I like cuddling and I like talking.
Okay, I heard that, but I'm just saying, what you want to talk about? Tell me what would you talk about, because I'm interested.
So while we're cuddling, we would talk about his feelings.
No, like who? Excuse me. Cut.
No, but I know a lot of, I can't be the only female that when you are cuddling, you want to know his feelings. Like, okay, babe, you know, how do you love me? And oh, babe, you know, like that's not the time to talk.
Disastrous.
Why? Why can't you cuddle into?
Wait,
no, this is
wait a
serious
minute, Lloyd,
now.
you gotta cut this.
No, this is serious. Don't cut it. Don't cut it. Now we're gonna get real. Why isn't that a time to talk?
This is not.
And this is serious.
The time to talk.
Why?
It's not the time for a man to talk.
But
that's
okay.
Not well, honey. Do you think I'm fat, or do you love me? That's not what he
like
want to talk
babes,
about.
You know, like that's the time. That's the get that little cuddly talk. While we're cuddling, I'm not gonna talk about serious stuff.
No, but that can be serious.
Talking about love and stuff like that. Yeah. No, it is serious. But I'm not coming from. I would never come from a place where we're cuddling and I'm like, oh my God, serious. If you don't love me, I'm gonna turn over and I'm not gonna. It's not like that. You just cuddling and you suck his face. Remember how we met? And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I can't be the only one that does that. You be like, oh babe, you remember how we met? Oh babe, how long we been together? No.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just.
I think that's cute.
As romantic as I used to be. I think.
I think that's cute though.
I think it is too. It's cute. It is. It's cute. It's very cute.
Because then he'd be like, oh, all right, babe, come on. We've been together for such and such years. And I remember do we have to go through this all the time?
You had on a purple sweater.
Yes, see, stuff like that.
They don't usually do that in bed, though. They do that before you get to bed because they're trying to get you to get in there and be happy. So while you washing the dishes or something, like, baby, you so fine, girl. I'm telling you, I remember the day I met you. And what I'm saying? That's what they do.
That's what they do, right.
That's the warm-up.
Right.
That's the prelude. Mm-hmm. That's the prelude to the big stuff. Yeah, if he's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's smart.
Because then I'll be like, babes,
I am so out of control right now. Oh my God.
Babes, that's me. Because to me, honestly, that stuff like that builds an emotional attachment. To know that I could be that annoying sometimes. Because like you said, most men probably don't want to talk like that. But just to know that you would love me in my annoyingness. Because that probably is annoying. Like what
I don't know that
really
it's annoying, but I don't think
if men don't
men
talk
look
like that,
forward to that.
Right. So if they don't look forward to it, then that would quite be annoying to them.
Right.
You know, so not annoying to the point where it's like, oh gosh, I can't take it. Just like, you know, oh boo, you so corny, like stuff like that.
Right,
you know?
Right.
And if you could take me in that way,
right,
you know,
like I said the other day, if you
like
could
we
take
said,
me in
right.
my
So
regalia,
so if you could take me in my annoyingness, because like we said, what man looks forward to those? You know, babe, when is our anniversary? And you know, they be like,
No, some men, let me tell you something. Some men are very conscious, and some men know how to treat a woman, and they don't have a whole bunch of issues. Like, they just don't. Some of them know. They got they doing their one thing, and they're very good at what they do, but they, you know, don't necessarily operate in that way where they want to get in bed and talk about. No, I don't know. I don't know every man, but I could surmise that that's probably not something that they want to do.
Not every man, but it's a point of that annoyingness. If you could take me in that annoyingness, because then
well, if you can take me, honey,
right?
If you could take me,
certain
honey,
things,
listen. Because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm gonna tell you, you know, and I acknowledge that you and I were talking about that the other day. Like, I think the thing that women have to understand is not every man is interested in you.
Right.
And if they are, it's not all for the same reasons. Some of them really just see the bright light that's shining in you and want to be your friend.
Right.
Everybody's not interested in trying to be your man, and you need to understand that you could be beautiful. It doesn't have anything to do with that. You're just not the one for them.
Him, right.
And
that's nothing personal.
And it's nothing personal because I don't like everybody either.
Right. Yeah.
You
we
know
talked
what I mean?
about it the other day. You said every man is not meant to be your husband.
No.
You know.
And so I don't even be summing people up and be like, you know how you sizing people up, be like, oh, you might know. No.
But I think more women need to hear this. It's okay. It's really okay. Every man that you meet is not supposed to be your husband.
Right.
And I think a lot of women go into the world thinking that, and that's why they can't build friendships.
Right.
Because that's the first thing that comes to mind. I have to marry him. He has to. Is he potential?
Right.
That P word that we don't use.
Right.
Is he even potential for marriage?
Right. And you can't. Everybody doesn't have that purpose in
right.
your life.
Right.
And every person you meet, some people would just be there to bless you. I have a very good friend, you know, he called me his big sister. And in the wintertime, when it snows, I could be in the house sleep and get up in the morning and my whole yard is snow blown. You understand what I'm saying? And because he knows, you know, like I don't have a man, you know, whatever. And he'll come over and he'll just blow out my whole yard, decide, you know, because I have a corner house. So he does the, you know, and I'll get up and I'll be like,
what just happened?
Who did, you know, at first I was like, who did that? You know, but now I know that he'll come and just drive by the house because he lives in my neighborhood. He's married, but he makes sure to take care of his little sister.
Right.
He's just a good friend of mine.
Good friend, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, you don't know what a purpose is for people being in your life. You don't know.
Right.
And stop trying to make everybody a somebody to you when they're not meant to be that. You know, sometimes they just meant to bless you. Maybe they come by and fix something in your house. They might be an electrician or a plumber. Or, you know, maybe they'll help you, you know, sign your kid up for baseball or mentor your son or do something, you know, to help you in some kind of way. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's trying to be your man.
And I think men can like smell that too from a mile away.
Yeah, we talked about
you
that.
know, you have a woman who's so like
your energy.
Yeah, the energy level where you just whoever you meet, all you gotta do is say hi, and all of a sudden you're dreaming about marrying him. You know, and I think that's a big turn off for them.
It is.
So I think that it is safe to be friends. Not don't be so fast to put everyone in that same boyfriend category. Potential boyfriend category.
Yeah.
I think that more women need to know that it is okay just to meet someone and it simply be a friend, friendship.
Right.
Because I know a lot of us think that way. It's just okay, we were trained to think that way.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, you know what broke me from thinking like that?
What?
Rejection. Because as I process through what happened in a relationship, as I processed through that, something in my mind was saying, you couldn't have possibly liked me or even cared about me, right? Maybe I jumped the gun getting involved with you.
Right.
Because your behavior is
right.
not indicative of somebody who cares and loves me. Right? So I stopped believing somewhere years ago that everybody that came into my circumference was meant to be something more to me.
Right.
I think I truly messed up a few good friendships that's all they were supposed to be.
It's just friends, right?
And then, you get carried away because, of course, naturally there is an attraction. Otherwise, you wouldn't even talk to each other, right? So there's a natural attraction, but being able to sit back and to discern, take the time to discern, take the time to be friends, and discern whether or not that person is, what you need in your life for real. Because you will determine a lot about a person in a couple of weeks. If you hanging out with them, talking to them daily on the phone,
I agree.
You'll start to, kind of get an idea of where they're at.
What you're dealing with.
Right. And that's why I think, I think to myself, I have had some amazing people in my life and that I absolutely adore still to this day. But I think I put them in a place they were not supposed to be. And so I had to acknowledge that for myself, because really and truly, really, Genese, we be trying to make everybody, and Jesus be at the woman with the woman at the well talk about the one you with now ain't your husband. You know what I'm saying?
So many of us do that.
No, we
do. And especially if you're in church, it's almost as if the end result to any relationship that you have to have is to get married.
Right.
And it doesn't even have to be.
But that's everybody else's. But that's, I think, what? I know people might think. My pastor said to me one time, he said to me, Kim, don't let your good be evil spoken of, because he knows I talk to a lot of guys, right? And some guys that I talk to are married, but they actually talk to me because they need counseling, or I shouldn't say counseling. I don't counsel. But mentoring or coaching through something with their wives. And my pastor also said to me to be careful not to just mentor them.
Right, to invite their wives.
Their wives, because even if we met for coffee to discuss, which is what I do with some of my clients face to face, we'll meet at the diner and we'll sit there and we'll talk. And we be talking about the situation, but if one of her friends walked into the diner and saw me sitting there, it can be perceived as something. And meanwhile, I have absolutely
no interest
in this brother, other than to help him. And I'm going back many years, because I stopped doing that because my pastor had said to me, Kim, don't.
Yeah.
He said don't, because people will perceive wrong, and it doesn't mean that what I mean, that you're doing anything wrong. Keep doing what you're doing, but make sure that, and even you don't need any man or any woman for that matter, you being the single voice that they hear. They need to, you need to have them together so that they can work through it not just what you say and what, because they hear my voice. They might hear the word of God, but they hear my voice, right? And they believe somehow, oh, Kim, you're a goddess. Because I'm joking. But, oh my God, you are so good. I just, I wish my wife was like you. I'm like, yeah, because I'm just like your wife.
Exactly.
You just don't know.
You just don't know.
I'm just here in a whole nother capacity.
Yeah, like you listen.
I have no interest, like really, because I would probably be mad at you too at this point, But so it's important. It's important to be friends. It's important to know exactly how a person, maybe not exactly, but pay attention to who this person is. Right. Because if you know who they are, you know how they fit into your life.
Right. I agree with that. But it's hard, and I keep saying this because of the world that we live in. It is very hard to be friends, real, authentic friends. In my opinion.
I think it's hard.
I think it is very hard because the way that you think when you meet someone, it's almost as if like, okay, that potential husband thing comes in,
right?
Or that potential wife thing. So now you're hanging out with the person. Now you're doing things with the person, and now the emotional attachment begins to come in, and then it's like, all right, well, slowly but surely you end up going towards the relationship, kind of going down that relationship road, and then even though you may have started off as friends, but that whole emotional attachment thing comes in, and then now you're in a whole relationship.
Well, to a small degree, Genese, you and I have somewhat of an emotional attachment. What does that mean? That means that I'm going to be your friend and I'm going to support you through whatever it is that you're going through. Whatever, you understand?
Right.
It doesn't mean that it has to be that type of relationship.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
but
we want to cross over.
When it is between a man and a woman, however,
it doesn't have to be that, though.
It can be different.
It can be, but it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be. But what I'm trying to say is, more times than not,
right, it
goes down that road.
Right.
Not because you want it to go down that road, just because it just happens.
Right.
That makes
sense. Why I can be friends with people, and I don't just want to be talking about myself, but the thing that kind of puts me in that place, because I don't have an agenda.
Right.
I don't have an agenda. I meet you, you're a nice person.
And that's it.
I don't want anything from you. In fact, I want to see where I can help you out at. You know what I mean? So male or female, to me, in my head, I have no agenda. Right. Yeah. I have no, like, oh yeah, you're it. And now I'm going to do it. No. I pretty much operate, this is my standard operating procedure. And so, like, it's like when I call everybody sugar. I'd be like, hey, baby, hey, sugar. Because that's what I do. First of all, I can't remember everybody's name. That's a pimp move, just in case you don't know. It's a pimp move. Because I can't always remember everybody's name. But that, we're going to leave the past in the past. We're going to leave the past in the past now. We're not going back.
And we're going to operate in the now.
Right. I'm just kidding. It's a joke, really. It's just a joke. I'm kidding. But I'm so silly. I'm silly, right? I can't even help it. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I just serve and give on that level. So some people are offended, especially men, when I say, hey, baby, and I answer my phone like that, and the person is sitting there, he's like, oh, you call everybody baby? Or I'm walking in the store and I see somebody that I know, and they go, oh, so you call everybody baby? And I'm like, yeah. Because I serve on the same level no matter where I go.
Where you go, right.
Now, my man is not going to be baby. My man is going to be my honey.
Right.
That's a whole different...
You're going to know his name.
No,
You're going to call him by his name.
Like, yeah, pretty much. No, I'm just kidding. No, that, I'm saying, though, that that's my base level.
Right.
That's my base level. So one of the issues with most people is they operate from a perspective of what can I get?
Right.
You understand? They don't operate from the perspective of how can I enhance this person's life. And when you operate from that perspective,
right,
you always are on the hunt for what you can get, because you're not looking to serve anybody. You're just looking to take.
Right.
And so I have a whole nother, my agenda is to be a blessing to those that I come in contact with.
Right.
And I mean that in every day. I don't care if I'm at the diner,
Wherever.
I don't care where I am.
Right.
I'm just going to come, bless your socks off, make you laugh or something. And, you know, so that's why I don't have that same issue that I used to have. Because I used to kind of think like that. And that's how I messed up.
Right.
You know?
And you would, because everyone is not, you have to deal with people on like different levels.
Right.
So everyone is not meant to be, it's just,
it
makes sense.
Right.
It makes a lot of sense. So one thing I wanted to talk about was when in the book you talked about being your authentic self.
Yes.
That was one of my like favorite readings. Yeah, honestly, because in order for you to move forward in any relationship, I think that you should start off by being your authentic self.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So like we said before, if you're going out and you want to order a salad on the first date, no, order that hamburger.
Right. If that's what you want.
Order it. Be your authentic self to let people know this is who you're dealing with.
Right. Right.
But what I found is that it's hard, and I keep saying this because most people don't know how to be their authentic self.
They don't even know who that is.
Yeah, right, exactly, because they don't even know
who that is. Because a lot of people don't
know
who that is.
They don't know how to be the authentic selves because they really have not taken the time out to figure out who and what.
Who they are.
Yeah, who and what they are. And it just goes back to the thing we were talking about earlier. When you begin to date and you begin to go into that cycle of meeting the same people over and over and over again, and it's mainly because you honestly don't know that you're the one causing it.
Right.
You have not, taken the time out to do the work to know that you are the one that's causing it.
Right.
So it's hard for a lot of people to be their authentic selves because they just don't know who their authentic selves are.
Yeah, right.
Just like that, just like clarity. So how can we get people to really understand that in order for you to move forward in any relationship, authenticity is the best way to move forward, but how?
Right. It takes some work to find that person. Because first, there's a lot of stuff that's covered up on top of us. It's like when you plant a seed. Like when I do my gardening, I plant like the bulbs for my stargazer lilies in the ground.
Right.
And it takes like until the next summer for them to blossom. And you only see them start to peep up out of the ground, but they need to go in and do the work, right? And we talked about that. Not only do the work, but they have to, it's so deep that you have to undo the lies that people told about you and told you to yourself.
Okay.
You understand? Because you're still living, a lot of us are still living under lies.
Right.
As if like the clothes you wear, right? Make you. You're not pretty enough. Your makeup. Right? So you have to kind of start to undo a lot of that stuff that was told, like you're stupid. So many people have heard that they were stupid, and then the subconscious messages of people not choosing you will make you believe that you are not enough. Right?
Right.
So you have to go into whatever quiet space, dark space, whatever it is, and remove yourself. And you have to start saying to yourself, writing it down if you must, I am.
I am. Right. I am.
I am ... This is who I know myself to be. I am kind. I am loving.
Right.
I am smart. Wonderful.
I am beautiful.
I am smart. I am beautiful.
I am worthy.
I am handsome. I am worthy. I am, you understand? And you have to start to retrain the way that you even think about yourself.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Because we get stuck. And so once you start to kind of, because this is a process. Sometimes it can take you months, it can take you years. But if you start the journey like that,
right,
and you start to remember, sometimes it takes you to travel back a little bit in order to move forward.
Oh, absolutely.
But not to the point that's going to bring you into a state of depression.
Right.
Right. But you need to go back. You need to go back and revisit, some of the dysfunction that was in your life.
Right.
Right? In order for you to move forward, you got to go back and see where it came from.
Where it came from, right.
You don't even know that the way that you treat people is bad because you've watched your parents or your father or your grandmother or your mother act out in such a dysfunctional way. You believe that type of behavior is standard and customary.
Right, absolutely not.
And it's not. And so when you meet up with somebody who says to you, I'm sorry, that don't work for me.
Right.
I mean, you nice and all of that,
but it's not working for me.
We're not doing that, right? When we have a tendency to do that, like, it's a check on us.
Right.
And it'll make you go sit down, like we were talking earlier, to do some real introspection. Because you've been walking around here and you thought,
that you were the bomb.
What's the problem?
Right. Well, yeah. Well, they're usually the problem. It's never me.
Right.
They're always the problem.
Right.
Never me.
Right. And so, but you have to go back, and it'll make you feel low for a minute.
Right. But it's
because
all
the awakening is happening.
But it's all to build your confidence level up.
It is because you can't get to your true authentic. I gave a word at my church not too long ago, and we was talking about esteeming one another.
Right.
Right. This is the simplest way I could put it in a different. And we're talking about esteeming one another. And I remember a time that I couldn't esteem anybody else. Right? And the reason why I couldn't esteem anybody else is because I didn't esteem myself.
Correct. You have to speak to yourself.
So now, because I live on a different playing field, because I am authentic, because I show up.
Right.
Because I show up and I'm unashamed. Like if you like me, you like me, sugar. And if you don't, you don't. I can't. I can't. Yeah, there's sugar. No, and it is so. It's like, this is who I am.
This is my authentic self.
Right, and I'm not scared of y'all anymore.
Right.
Because part of the reason why I used to hide was because I didn't want anybody to see that.
Right, absolutely.
I didn't want anybody to see that because I was afraid, like, they're gonna say
that they don't like. Yeah.
Right, and I'm not enough. Now I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I love them, but I really don't care.
But that's what I started doing. I started building my confidence level up.
Yeah.
Because in anything, in order for it to peak, you have to build up a certain level of confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
And it may not happen overnight, but slowly but surely that confidence level has got to come up.
It does, and it does.
Because that is why so many so many women, men and women, right? That's why they continue to get into these bad relationships with people who don't serve them well.
Right.
Because of the confidence level.
Right.
Because for somewhere you were taught that you were not enough.
Right.
Somewhere that is playing in the back of your head.
Right.
Regardless if you've seen it with your mama or your papa.
Right.
Regardless if you watched it on television. Or regardless if you've just been rejected and played out or dogged out, you know. But it's in you.
Right.
So now that's the level that you're operating on.
Right.
I'm not good enough.
Right.
So that's where the self-esteem has got to be built. So like you said, I am enough.
Yes.
I am good looking.
Right.
I don't care if don't nobody thinks so. I'm good looking.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it doesn't matter.
And what and I was saying this, I don't know if I said this to you the other day, but I'm like India Arie. Like, I'm not my hair. I'm not these clothes.
Right.
There's so much more, and I say this all the time because each and every one of us have layers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And we talked about my personalities.
Yes. Personalities. She tried to call them levels, but they're personalities.
Yeah. I can.
Multiple syllable.
Yeah, right. I'm a little syllable-ish, y'all, unfortunately. No, but seriously, the levels, there's so many layers to this thing, to unearthing the authentic and real you, that it takes time to do it.
Yes.
And again, I'll say this again, you cannot learn this stuff in a vacuum.
Right.
Something needs to happen to shift your level of consciousness, to make you deal with people on a different level.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
That is so true.
That it is. At work, at
anywhere,
home, with your mother, with your cousin, because you get an opportunity to see yourself. It said 90% of what happens in life it's not what happens to you in life, it's how you react to it.
How you react to it. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And you can see yourself. Yeah.
So I think that once I myself began to build my confidence level, my whole outlook on relationships with people in general, it shifted. Because now I'm not looking at what I lack.
Right.
I'm looking at, forget what I lack. I lack a lot of things. Y'all ain't got to know it.
Right.
I'll only know it, know?
Right.
And I'm going to work on it.
Right.
But most people are operating off of what they lack.
Right.
I was talking to someone the other day and this person was like, oh, I can't. And I was like, I don't really care about what you can't. Tell me what you can.
Right.
Let's kind of get away from that and let's start there. Right. Let's start talking about what you can.
Right.
Who cares what you can't? We can't fix that, and I'm not interested in fixing it right now. You know? Maybe tomorrow or the next, just not right now. That's not the focal point of this conversation.
Right.
The focal point of this conversation, the right here and now, is on what can you?
Yeah, what can you?
But a lot of us are operating on I can't level.
Right.
So when you meet someone, of course, you're going to meet someone that is beneath your standards if that's the level of thinking that you're on.
Yeah.
That's why once I began to build my own confidence level up, changed.
Right.
It changed completely because now whoever I am dealing with, I deal with on a level of I can.
Right.
So
from a positive
perspective.
Right. And abundance.
Yes. which was talked about in the book.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Right.
So now if you're operating from a place of abundance, then everything starts to look up.
Right.
As opposed to I can't, now you're looking down.
Right.
No.
Right.
No. Now we're shifting things. Now we're, making moves.
Right.
And that's how you and I connected, because at that point when I met you, that's how I was operating. And this was even before I read the book. And that's why when I read it in the book, like operating from a place of abundance, I was like, oh shoot, that's me.
Right.
That's where I'm at in my life right now. I'm not talking about what I can't get.
Right. Because you're doing it.
Because I'm doing it.
You are actually doing it.
Exactly. So you have to operate off of that place. And it all comes from learning to have confidence in yourself. in your thoughts.
Right.
Because if you don't believe yourself or in yourself,
it shows.
It
shows. We were talking about, it showing up, like the attraction, the energy. Like, people don't know that people can see your energy.
Absolutely.
Like, I know that it sounds like ooh, like on that spiritual stuff, but literally the reason why I know it is because I know people see the Spirit of God in me.
Right.
Without me opening up my mouth. Right?
Right.
I know they can look at me and see it, and I'll be like, that's weird.
Right.
Right? At first. But then I started to realize that the attraction, that's the other thing. The attraction is not always you. The attraction is the Spirit of God that lives in you. Right? But people feel that. And they also feel the same way they feel neediness.
Right.
The same way that they feel someone with a negative attitude, a negative energy, like they look mean, or you understand what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Like, they have this, they not smile. Like, why are you not smiling? Like, ain't you glad to be here? That kind of thing.
I mean, the sun is shining.
The alternative is you could be 6 feet under. I think you ought to smile.
The sun is shining. You're in your best health. I mean, goodness gracious.
Right. But you literally, and that's another thing people have to learn. You have to literally wake up and have a mindset and a level of consciousness that speaks to gratitude from the time you open your eyes. And not just as a mamsy-pamsy, Lord, I thank you for waking me up this morning, because I think every Christian who got any sense at all says that. But when you start going around your house, your apartment, and you start understanding and walking around there with a grateful heart, a genuinely grateful heart, and you're saying, Lord, I thank you that my kids are okay. I thank you that I got food on my... And you start calling things out. All of a sudden, even if you got some other stuff going on, it don't matter as much. And when you start to do that as an everyday exercise, it changes, it shifts. It shifts. So now when people say, hi, how you doing in a grocery store, you're not Mrs. or Mr. Grumpy Pants. You are, I'm blessed and highly favored. How you doing? You know what I'm saying?
How you doing?
Right. Because it is an attitude that speaks to a certain level of success. Right?
Absolutely. I had to do that.
Right.
I remember a couple of weeks ago when I mean, literally, I was so tired because I had so much going on. My grandmother passed away, remember? And we were still preparing for the show, and then just other stuff still working, and it was so much. And when I tell you, I was drained. Literally, I was so tired. And it was like, what am I going to do? However, I got up. I will never forget this. I got up, and I didn't want to get up. I just wanted to stay in the bed and just like, okay, I can't, because mentally I was just drained. But I got up and I began to speak life into that situation. I got up that morning, and I remember after I spoke, and this is how funny it is. I got up and I was like, I'm tired, but I'm going to get up anyway. And I got up and I was like, all right, you got to do this. This is what you have to do. You're going to be okay. And that's when I got on a prayer call. Remember? It's just by chance I stumbled across getting on the prayer call because I had sent you a message. But then the prayer call happened, and the prayer call was like, it was like even better. And then my day just got better and better and better after that. Because
you pressed your way.
Yes, and I didn't stay in that place. I really spoke it into existence. And we don't feel our best all the time.
Right.
It's not humanly possible
to
always feel your best. However, you have got to learn how to speak.
And choose.
Speak and choose. Right. So that morning that I got up, I was, like I said, I was so tired, but I was like, I ain't choosing to mope around all day and, looking crazy all day. No, I have things to do. I'm going to get up and I'm going to make the best of what I have today. And I'm telling you, after that, things just started to get better and better and better and better and better that day. And then before you knew it, I was like, okay.
Right.
I made it.
Right. You took 15,000 steps and your pedometer.
Okay, I made it.
Right.
You know?
You make it. The attitude.
So if you guys have not already gotten a book, please go to Amazon. And I'm telling you guys, it's a life-changing book. So get the book. It's called Perfectly Imperfect. It's by Miss Kim Love-Jones. And it's key principles that lead to your best relationship ever. And follow me as well, Genese. 2Hot4Church IG, 2Hot4Church also on Facebook. You can also email me at, what is the email? At Gmail, 2Hot4Church, gmail.com.
2Hot4Church, y'all.